All right, well, let's get on into the first game of coverage. Once again, remember, if you are at home and you're watching this, there are other games happening simultaneously all throughout the coverage today. We're going to be trying to give you guys the best visuals as we jump all around different games to games. The leaderboards are going to be getting crazy. The off-spawn battles, Taco, we didn't even talk about it. You don't know who's getting into your round, what is going to happen, right? And this is one of those instances where, well, guess what? There's a whole team contesting you.
Yeah, New Llama, though, does not waste any time. An immediate knock onto Maxo. That's going to leave Dolzer in kind of a rough position. This building just outside of Pleasant Piazza, I mean, so many teams usually trying to contest here, but the fact is, Dolzer is not letting up in the slightest, even though Cole and Llama arguably in a better position. That was up until Cole just ate a massive shot here, and it's the 2 versus 1 that Dolzer doesn't pay any sort of mind to. He's going straight for the neck here. The cleanup, it's so precise. That's the kind of hammer pump accuracy that I think we all wish we could have, Monster.
That was absolutely incredible. In fact, we got to watch it back one more time. Take a look at how he executes in here. Steps face to face, rips through all the shield. And you know what? I give it to Cole Leaf. Through the ramp, he did hit a monstrous shot, but not enough to put down Prodigy's Dolzer. So well played for him. He gets his first highlight of the weekend, and you know that was going right into the reels for him. On the other side, though, looks like Koffs and his duo, Josh, did have a little bit of an issue here down in the far eastern portion of the map. But hey, you know what? Looks like it works out well. He wins the fight, and he should be playing the reboot man.
Yeah, with the reboot ban in a relatively isolated spot, you have to imagine that Josh would get a decent opportunity here for this duo to essentially recoup, regroup, gather the necessary resources, some more builds, obviously, seeming to be the intention here from Koffs. Gotta make sure you're being as safe as possible when going for that reboot, but again, only a matter of time. Just wants to make sure that he's safe before he boxes up and starts the play going for Josh. But I actually got a little replay, get a peep in, and this is from downtown by Koffs as well. That's a nice knock onto Enda. Get Koffs, I think, a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence here to feel comfortable pushing this one. As soon as you see that white spray come out, that's when you know that you can immediately keep charging them down.
Ooh, and take a look at this now. We get to jump in with Bugha here, who doesn't have Aviv right next to him, so a bit of a split situation going on here. But there's notable players at this drop spot. This is not going to be an easy Snooty Steps by any means, but he does have the spacing here to go ahead and loot up comfortably. So all in all, he might not walk away with a fight in his hands.
Waiting for Blake or Macwood to see how they handle this initiative here. Aviv looking like he wants to go for a little bit of wraparound. Gonna use the junior crash pads just to cut the gap even quicker. But Aviv just gets right in there. Knock already onto Blake. Goes ahead and gathers that elimination for himself. Now waiting for the backup here from Bugha, but this is looking like a dunzo situation in the case of Macwood and Blake. I mean, Blake already down for the count. Bugha getting pressured now from 2 separate angles. And Macwood trying to do what he can to hold on, but it just felt like a matter of time. Tries to get some damage at least done onto Bugha, but it just won't be enough. Bugha and Aviv very confidently taking that engagement.
You know what? And I've seen the rumblings, right? People that don't believe in Bugha, but he shows up every single week, season after season, and continues to put the numbers up. That was just really showing you there are levels to this thing right here. And you know what? What an excellent showcase for him. Back on over to Koffs, though. It doesn't get any easier. Picking up his teammate essentially attracts a new duo to him, and it's Savage Caesar and Zembo. And Zemmo Be Cool actually was taken out already, leaving this up to Caesar by himself. So Koffs already, man, has to put up the big numbers again, loses his teammate again here, and can he clutch it up? But no, it's not gonna happen this time, and somehow Caesar puts on the 2v1 when Koffs was on a run of the lifetime here for the start of his weekend. So back to the lobby he goes.
A sneaky play, though, by Caesar. It just seems like Koffs and Josh had no idea that he'd managed to work his way behind their walls. But again, the action is only going to continue picking up with some of these off-spawn engagements. Sphinx and Pump now trying to do what they can to shake off this other duo that's contesting them for the time being. It's Jan. But Jan is getting pieced up right now by Pump. That's going to be a quick knock. Elimination bound to be gathered shortly after. And Flockham, he's actually not going to wait to stick around to see if he can maybe get some vengeance for his duo mate. Instead, he's going to take this opportunity, create a little bit of distance here with that grapple blade, and now just continue to separate himself from that little skirmish that took place. Might go back for the reboot card at a later time, Monster, but at least for right now, it does not seem very comfortable trying to take that 1v2.
Yeah, all in all, I definitely respect the disengage. It's not very often you're going to see a team pull out that soon, especially when he traded off some pretty respectable damage, but it just kind of goes to show like how much he really cares about this first game. So I'm sure he'll have some time to go back for that reboot. Jump in with Typical Gamer. Noah plays here. So far, so good. Couple tags going down range for Typical Gamer. Typical Gamer, just all around balanced player, right? The fact that he's even made it this far just really shows you that, hey, all the hours, all the effort put into Fortnite, I mean, it continues to pay off for him as they've made it to the qualifier this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's something that everyone who's participating is going to be rather excited for. Just knowing that the reward, though, could potentially be landing in that upper bracket. It's got to be a good feeling if you can make it through upper bracket, and yeah, just because of the sole fact that that's your most direct path towards qualifying for grands. But again, can't get too stuck in the spotlight if you're any of these teams. You want to make sure that you don't autopilot through these games because there are plenty of them, like you just mentioned, Answer. And for the players that have been elimed super early on in this lobby, keep in mind they've likely already started to requeue, possibly even gotten into another one already.
That's right. So easy to get complacent as you're making it into the further levels of the stage here. And talking about that, man, this lobby is really cut down pretty quickly. Yeah. We're just jumping into zone 2, so not a traditional slow start for NA by any means here in the second weekend's qualifier. Things are off to a hot start, and what a stacked lobby as well as we're jumping around. All types of very experienced players. Chimp making his second appearance this weekend here now alongside Sires, and they seem to be not looking for an engagement by any means, but just trying to play the long game out, stay consistent. On the other side of the coin here, Bugha, it's a completely different story. He's got a team boxed up alongside Aviv, and maybe they put a little extra respect on that duo. Just enough to go ahead and back up for a moment's time.
Anything that can cause Aviv and Bugha to take a moment of pause and reconsider whether or not they really want to battle things out. I mean, you also have to expect that's likely due to the fact that since Bugha and Aviv, since they got those 2 eliminations onto Macwood and Blake earlier on, they might be set already for their Storm Surge strategy, so they're probably just looking to prioritize on their positioning at this point, kind of fully understanding, hey, we're probably going to encounter some other teams along the way. We can get our tags where we need to, but for the most part, I think that these two really just want to just keep it moving.
Yeah, and I want to point out, Bugha does not have many material. Aviv is in a much better position when it comes down to his heavy mats. So there's a double back moment here now, where they're going to have to go secure metal. They're going to have to secure stone if they want to get comfortable here, some brick. Otherwise, yeah, they will be in a bad situation for late game. And look, even spotting out another team here, Aviv and Bugha are probably thinking, can we get a little ambush here? Those tags mean a lot to them, but not enough for them to full push, not enough for them to commit any more resources as they're looking about playing the bigger picture here. Meanwhile, on the other side, bit of a standoff. 3 teams in the mix right here in the blender, but things are going to slow down as one opts to rotate out this side, right? Give a little moment here, leaving this duo for the zone.
Chimp and Sears, they wanted absolutely nothing to do with this between Ames, Comade, and free FNCS qual, but how free can it be, really, when you break it all down? Even side-by-side comparison right now, you're going to get right into Thoric just immediately jumping into what looks like another player's box. Might have made those edits himself. Hard to say from the point that we got into things, but with Chris at his side, that was a nice takedown by Thoric and Chris. Nice 2 eliminations to add to the tally. And now it's just going to be a focus in on how many more placements, how many more elims do we really want to try and gather in this first match. And kind of touching on the first match of the day, NDF, I think in comparison to last week, it almost feels like players are already taking a much more aggressive stance. And I have to think it's because after getting a little bit of a taste in how week number 1 was played, it seems like a lot of teams recognize a pretty efficient strategy was just to key heavy in a lot of these lobbies.
That's right. Last weekend, players got to put their feet in the water. They got a feel for the temperature, and now they're jumping right on in. The comfort is clearly there. Possibly even, you know, the nerves shook and shaken out. So what we're seeing right now is definitely a lobby, at least this one here, that's off to a very consistent and fast pace. But also notice the teams we're jumping in with. Very experienced. Shore, Zypha, right? We even saw Blake and Macwood in this round here too. One of the first that was eliminated to the hands of Bugha, but there are notable teams in this game. It's not like we're looking at a lobby that is going to be a cakewalk to take a victory royale in. So even Shore and Zypha here with 2 elims, a lot of the vets have picked up a number of eliminations so far.
But that's what makes it so exciting, is knowing that there are so many seasoned duos that are honestly kind of just taking advantage of their experience. They're not ever really scared. I think that a lot of them just kind of understand how to fully commit to a decision, and that's where we can see a decent amount of differences between how some of these engagements pan out. I think the main thing to keep note of is for some of these newer teams, you know, for some of the players that don't necessarily have a whole lot of FNCS experience underneath their belts, I think a big part of it is just going to be making sure that they stay together. We see so often the more veteran duos, they'll have a tendency to split. They understand like the distances that they can work with and still be proficient for each other. And that's something that I think obviously comes with experience. So now Tyler 20, I mean, they're kind of just gauging what direction they even want to go in the first place. We're going to see Tyler just cranking up now, trying to get a little bit of a better aerial approach on things. Maybe look and see if there's other teams in the area that they could possibly hold up at Ritzy Rivera.
I like this spot to be in right here because down in Ritzy Rivera, you don't really have sight lines on any of, you know, really anything in the spot that they were in before that. But at least from here, they can get visuals on the full city, get visuals on teams potentially moving in from the outskirts. It's a much more advantageous spot to be in. Back on over to Zemo Be Cool. They've just encountered a brick wall in Zypha and Shore, a team that's already heated up, but both sides have found their levels of success. Don't forget, Caesar did just come off with a save, taking out Koffs and Josh. So, you know, they're feeling pretty good. The confidence is there. However, Zypha and Shore are a very experienced duo, so who's going to come out on top? We'll find out now.
Yeah, and you can see Zemo trying to be careful, trying to make sure that these edits aren't putting them too exposed here. Looking for that right side peek. Left wall gonna get thrown up there. And now Zemo just continuing, trying to deal with some of these stairs that Shore just keeps placing. The cones coming out as well, just to keep creating more problems for whoever decides to try and actually push up. But Zemo is doing a pretty good job at reclaiming some of the space that Shore and Zypha were trying to create here inside of a lot of these edits, Monster.
However, he is fighting off that left camera peek. That's going to be a tough one, and this is why he's punished first both times. Notice Shore just keeping it textbook here. The advantage in his side of the field right now. Big punishment is going to come through. Bit of a reset for both sides as Zypha and Shore take their fair share of punishment from the battle. But there's no third party in sight, so this fight will continue to drag on for a little longer once the team decides to make a decision. And it's going to be Caesar and Zemo who say, hey, you know what? They put a lot of effort into that. It almost didn't go our way. We did just enough to slow things down. Let's get out of here. And both sides respectfully disengage. They live to see another zone.
Caesar, though, eating a little bit of a goodbye kiss on the way out the door. That's the last thing that he wants to worry about. You can see following back up here with Bugha and Aviv now. Hanging out by a Rift Island. Likely took a couple of engagements here, considering their elim count has jumped up from 2 to 4, and 3 of those being on Aviv. But the Rift Island fights are usually pretty prevalent at this stage, and well, Bugha, Aviv, they're not going to be a team that lets it go for free by any means. You see Bugha alongside Aviv pushing down free. Looking like a free limb there for Bugha. Easy collect. And now Rift Island, they'll be able to rotate out of there pretty easily.
Right, where Chimp and company didn't capitalize, Bugha and crew did the rest. They earned themselves a couple elimination points there. I'm a little bit concerned about teams playing the deep zone right now, though. That damage is going to start to add up here. And positioning is going to start to run thin. There's a lot of water on this ending right now, so the forcing of teams to one side or another, big decisions are going to have to be made here. And this is just the first game that we're highlighting at the moment, as there are several rounds of Fortnite happening here. We're going to be jumping into all types of teams as we continue coverage here over the evening. So for Sphinx and Pump, I mean, we've got a sample of what they've had to offer this lobby already, a nice elimination, and continue to heat things up as we get closer to endgame.
And I like the mental here for Sphinx, just trying to utilize that Reaper, see if he can collect either a knock or even just body tags. I mean, 110 pops, really nice damage, guaranteed. Break somebody's shields for the most part, and when that happens, you never know. Maybe Sphinx and Pump, if Sphinx is able to connect, they might look for an aggressive charge if they manage to crack anybody's shield. But until that does take place, Sharkman and Elsa seemingly reaping the benefits of some rewards here.
Yeah, and Taco, I hate to say it, but that's typical gamers loot pile right there.
Yeah.
As Sharkman did get the full elimination there in the feed just shortly ago, so getting a little bit of an update here. Take a look. Noah plays, gaps out, gets a little distance. He's now a solo in this game here. That's where the grapple hook comes in handy, so you can definitely space yourself out and wait for the replenishing hooks to come back. But all in all, Noah's got an uphill battle, quite literally, to fight for here. Let's see if he's going to go for it. Yes, of course he is. He doesn't want to be down on the low ground, commits the heavy material here, but the team below him knows he's a solo, right? So it'd be likely better for him to edge over just a square. If he stays single, all the teams in the vicinity will know he's just a one-player man here. Let's see it.
That's the thing, though, is that the team that just watched Noah grapple blade up that cliffside, they are bound to recognize the fact, okay, nobody came after him. It's literally just this guy trying to play things out as a solo. But Noah could definitely still afflict some pretty heavy damage to some of these teams. You were talking about that water. Now we've got teams that are going to be looking to try and maybe cross this little river that's taken place. But it really just all depends on which side the zone might kind of lean towards pulling.
Jumping back in with Chimp now. Down on that waterfront here, low ground, just looking to keep that material capped off. This is not a bad spot to be in. However, there are teams all around them, so it's not safe by any means just yet. Cone Maid is putting up the walls. Okay, so they're very much aware of Chimp's presence here, and those teams are not safe, so they're just trying to hold this squad out to the edge. So trying to time the movement. There it is. Off they go. So this is also another interesting play, right? Playing for a more advantageous position early in the game as opposed to waiting for things to, have to be decided later.
I like this a lot, though, from Chimp, just kind of getting that reposition, get away from some of that congestion that was seemingly starting to build. We'll get back to that, though, in a second, because right now, Beast and Jojo Fishy, they've got a potential elimination on their hands in the form of K's, and that is going to be a well-placed knock into the full finish elimination. They're kind of just waiting for Beast and Jojo Fishy. Jojo Fishy will finally take down K's entirely, and it seems as though K's duo was able to get away temporarily. Beast and Jojo could potentially look to capitalize on this further, but no, instead they will just take the immediate win. Looked as though might have had another team potentially pulling up on their short side, though.
So I was just going to say, the zone's going to pull pretty far east, and for Aviva and Bugha, this is the worst spot to be in at the moment, as they have to pretty much march through all this noise here. All of these teams will take a look. The dead side rotate. They already recognize all the abandoned fortresses, the abandoned bases here on the bottom side. Nothing to worry about for them right now as they cut all the way across, and it should be pretty easy rotates for them. However, it's not going to be the same story for everyone here. So right now, 5 eliminations. One of the Elam leaders in this game, Aviva and Bugha, really heating up here in the first game, and now edging their way towards an end game. I mean, they're not going to have an issue as far as the Surge is concerned, but that's not the same, or to say it's the same for everyone else in the lobby. The warnings are out. The players now know what kind of situation they're in. So even if you are Aviv and Bugha, you know, it's not safe because you never know what teams are just going to decide that, hey, we got to fight, and this box right here looks tempting.
To be fair, though, to Aviv and Bugha, when you have 1576 above storm damage threshold, they could probably coast for a bit. They don't necessarily need to make their presence known to anybody else in the lobby. Although with the way they've been playing this match so far, it seems as though sitting pretty is not really their ideal world. It seems as though they definitely just want to keep trying to take some aggressive engagements, at least the ones that they can tell will likely go in their favor. Meanwhile, teams like Creep and Hades kind of just waiting for a better chance. Because again, we talk about how nice it could be to have those grapple blades to make those movements, but Creep, he doesn't have a grapple blade. He's gonna have to depend on these crash pads to get where he needs to be.
I'm happy you pointed that out because they did pull pretty favorable zones. So they're one of the few teams that are actually on that north side where Cone Maid and Ames are not, right? Grapple Hook, yes, but they were below the surge. Now, granted, they only need a single tag, but finding that tag is going to be tough as they walk right into Team Agent's walls there, and they're just pretty much ready for any kind of defensive course of action, and it's not looking good for Ames. Although he is above, although Cone may have found the tag there, it's probably not going to last very long. There it is. Right on the moment, right on the marker. Things roll over. No more heals here, Taco. I mean, could it get any worse? Doesn't look like
well,
it.
Is that worse, you would think? We're getting full E-limbed almost immediately. Yeah, there's no such thing as a short-lived relief in these kinds of lobbies. Just
shout out Noah though. He's still up, still
he's making it happen. To the best of his ability, at least. This is not a dream scenario by any means.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
builds, shambles,
tough,
heals.
Yeah, tough material situation, trying to rotate on the outer edge right now. He's even got grapple hooks, and he's like, dude, I gotta save these, right? There it is to get all the way across. Tough spot.
And it's only getting worse by the looks of things. Just teams recognizing the fact that this man Noah down to his last build. It has been placed, and he will get 8 up immediately after the fact. Could be Dolzer with the elimination count for that one. But now Aviv, Bugha, we said they had a long rotate, and that's going to be Bugha down. Aviv now picks up the medallion. He's going to try and do his best to get his shield replenished, and shield potion will definitely help him get that back to 100, but with no white heals in sight, this is going to be a tough rotate for Aviv. He's got to be careful too. He doesn't want to get caught in some of the low ground congestion. So he's going to opt for the high route with the grab lane again. Catapults himself immediately towards the next zone, but gets that box out and is trying to make something happen here, Monster, but he's just not being given much of anything.
This is not going to get any easier either as we're getting later and later into these moving zones. Things are starting to pick up here. Other teams are getting desperate. But Aviv gets to showcase to us just why he is a top-level player, just why someone like Bugha would decide to pair up with Aviv. The accolades to match now. Aviv has to put up the fight. Pump on the other side, and Sphinx still up and running as well. Hurt here too, so the veterans having a bit of a tough time here in the end game. We might just have some new blood walk away with this whole thing, but only time will tell right now. Pump now looking for security here in the box. Enemies everywhere. Sphinx is on the other side, trying to break his duo in. Come on, buddy. Get on over. There it is. This is just how you got to play it.
Now, unless you're Phenom and Ziggy, though, who are seemingly the high ground team, everyone here on the low ground just getting so caught up with each other. A nice blast from Elsa is going to mean one more elimination there onto Trow, but Aviv still, as a solo, still trying to make the placement dream happen. Seemingly going to be able to possibly try and play spoiler maybe for some of these other teams. That's another elimination from Aviv. Bound to be off of a body that he knocked while making this progression through the low ground. And again, just climbing all over the place. This guy's almost like a spider monkey at this point. He is just everywhere.
That was a weakened Sphinx there too. One shot would have been enough to him to get the knock there. It was so close. yet so far. But look, Aviv is really showing you why you need to put some respect on him. Notice he lost Booga around 20th place. He is now in a top 10 situation on his own here. 5 material left. He's going to go to try to heal as much as he can, but it's all about finding eliminations now. Another player in the box. This is the chance. There finds the 150 on the backside of the zone, and there's a down body there too. You know he's thinking about it, but first he has to cap off the HP. Aviv is truly heating up right now.
Yeah, we called him a man on a mission, but right now it's looking like this entire lobby believes Aviv to still be in duo standing. Aviv gonna go sink right down into the water. Might have jinxed him at the very end there, but a beautiful run nonetheless from Aviv. Now it's gonna come down Spacey, Brega. Are they gonna be able to suppress the low ground well enough in case they can't? Elsa and Sharkman certainly putting in a punch. 6 elims already and still working through for more.
It's not looking easy for the team on high ground right now. Spazzy and Brigger right now. Although they have 4 eliminations, yes, they're inside the top 5. This is a fantastic game, but the material count, just a singular build. If they don't put pressure down, infinite amounts of pressure right now, the other teams are going to have a moment to fight back, and that could be the end. I like what they're doing. They need to force that duo into Elsa and Sharkman, who are also out of material. This is it. It's desperate time now, Taco, for all the teams involved here. They have to fight or flight. There's no healing through this amount of pressure right now, and Elsa tries to go for it. It's not going to be enough. Sharkman's already in the heal situation here. He might just have enough, as Brega couldn't find the heal, so he should fall here shortly, and it's up to Maxo and Sharkman, but we already see it. I think the numbers are there, Taco.
The math is mathing for the most part, and Maxo should not be able to take this. It was a close one at the end there. Just went for it. I respect the full send entirely, but Sharkman just able to hold on long enough. And that's going to be a Victor Royale claimed. A nice finish there as well for Sharkman and Elsa.
Well, you know what? That could be the difference. That could be the difference for someone like Sharkman there. That singular tag allows him to actually get the elimination credit when the game ends. So, hey, at the end of the day, it is a little bit of min-max. Let's go ahead and run that back one more time. Elsa and Sharkman, they were looking like the team to win at this point. The moment they took down, you know, the low ground competition and gave them all the space here, Taco, to see how the heal off plays off. Now, you know for certain that Sharkman has the visual cues. He can see exactly where the opponent's at. Look at how he's building around, puts the protection up, goes for the tag as well, and gets the elimination. So a well-played Victory Royale for Elsa and Moon's Sharkman. That's how you like to see it, Zeke. Catch us up with the rest of the game now, though.